foot control screens. On the middle ring, on pad number 13, we see a function called foot controller assignment. And what this means is that if you have a CP1, a control pedal from alternate mode, and you plug that into either control number 1 or control number 2, that pedal can do things. It can control volume, or if I hit the increment, it can control pitch bend. It can control pitch bend down with sustain, modulation with sustain, and a whole list of things. Actually, there's 127 things that can happen on those foot controller screens. You can do this now. If you step on the foot switch and you hit it once, it's foot controller number 1. You hit it again, it's foot controller number 2. So you can control, and if you hit it again, you see something called FSW. That means that you can use that input to make a MIDI sound. And actually, while you see 128 4 times, you can play up to 4 sounds on the pad. And you can decide what channel that sound's going to play or sounds and what velocity. So again, you step on the edit foot switch. This is the assignment for foot controller number 1. This is the assignment for foot controller number 2. And this is the assignment for having a sound that you may want to put on those foot switches. Now, there are some small other details that you may want to include, the minimum and the maximum velocity settings for these controllers, and that's what the forward pads does. You have a minimum effect, and a maximum effect, and a curve. And you can also tell it whether the channel is going to be for control 1 or control 2, or both controllers. And that's also the same for foot controller number 2. You can assign the minimum, the maximum, the curve, and assign if it's going to be for both controllers. And finally, if you set it up for foot switch, you can say whether you want, you can go to each one of those sounds and determine how many sounds that you want to put onto that pad. Also, in the global screens, you can tell it there are some more foot control screen functions. Again, we'll talk about this in more detail when we get to the global screen section.